Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1744. Today I'm at the McLaren Technology Center in the UK. We're going racing.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in the UK at the McLaren Technology Center. Whoa, boy, I'm in a pretty cool place with a very special guest by the name of Zack Brown. Zack, welcome to Cars Yeah. Are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
Absolutely, always buckled up and always ready to go.
No kidding. A guy like you who's done a lot of racing, involved in some major racing, so we're going to have some fun. Now, Zack, before I give you a proper introduction, I want you to share one little thing that most people don't know about you.
Ooh, they don't know about me.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably a lot that's not known about me. Probably because some of it isn't that interesting. Well, I'm a car guy, but that's known. I wish I was a baseball player.
Really?
Then maybe that's something that people. Yeah, that was my favorite sport growing up, and if I could do it all over again, I'd love to play on the St. Louis Cardinals.
No kidding. Baseball. Well, you know, this is pretty interesting because a mutual friend of ours, Cindy Sisson, who I call a super connector, who you know, and she knows everybody, including you. Her son is embarking on a career in baseball as we speak. He's off to try to make a life in baseball, so we'll wish him well. But baseball, well, that's pretty cool. Did you play baseball when you were a kid or in college?
I did. No, I didn't do any college. I barely did high school, so that was school was not my forte. But I played it all the way up through high school, and that's what I grew up around, and idolized all the big baseball players. So, and my son's name, or one of my son's name, is McGuire, named after Mark McGuire.
Mark McGuire, yeah.
If that gives you a sense of my admiration for the St. Louis Cardinals, exactly.
St. Louis Cardinals. Well, that's pretty darn cool. What is it about baseball that you like the most?
Ooh, it's got to be the home run, as opposed to a pitcher's duel. But, I grew up around it. My mom was a massive New York Yankee fan, and I think I was pretty good at it in my early years. So I found the sports I follow are the ones that I played and were decent at. And I don't follow sports, and I find the kind of commonality between the ones I follow and don't follow is whether I played them or not. So I think I've got a greater appreciation for the sport if I played it. So I'm not a big basketball guy. I'm not a big football guy. I'm not a big soccer guy. And I never played any of those sports. But I love baseball. I love ice hockey. I love golf. And I did all those sports. So I think that's how I've ended up in motor racing.
Yeah, exactly. My son likes baseball. He's kind of grown into it, and his favorite thing about it are the statistics, the numbers. He always says, "Dad, it's a numbers game. It's all about a numbers game." Do you think about that movie Moneyball? It kind of relates to that in a little bit of a way. It's very strategic, very much numbers.
I love statistics.
Yeah. Very good. Well, Cardinals are red, but today we're going orange at McLaren. So let me give Zack a proper introduction, and we're going to dive into his world. Zack Brown is the Chief Executive of McLaren Racing, and his overall responsibility for the business, including strategic direction, operational performance, marketing, and commercial development. He leads McLaren's direction and involvement in professional motorsports, spearheaded by the McLaren Formula 1 team. Born and raised in California, Zack raced around the world professionally for 10 years before developing his skills in motorsports business and commercial worlds. And in 1995, he founded JMI, which grew to become the largest and most successful motorsports marketing agency in the world. When JMI was acquired in 2013 by CSM, a division of Chime Communications, Zack became the company's chief executive officer, and then he relinquished that post to embark on his journey at McLaren in the winter of 2016. We'll be back in just a minute to learn more about Zack and McLaren and what they have planned this year, but first a word from our very valued sponsors. Please give them a listen. Hold on, we're at McLaren. We'll be right back. Our pets are part of the family, but they can be very hard on your vehicle's interiors. Do you have a pet in your household that loves to go for rides? Covercraft offers a wide variety of solutions to protect your vehicle's interior from Fido's rough treatment. Canine cargo area covers are padded for comfort and provide door-to-door protection. Pet pads have built-in features and keep cargo areas and your seats protected. Covercraft's quality pet solutions cover cargo areas, bucket, or bench seats, and protect from damaging claws, pet fur and hair, mud, moisture, and drool from permanently damaging your vehicle's interior surfaces. Choose from a variety of styles and covers for almost every vehicle made. And I've got a deal for you. Cars Yeah! listeners are going to get 10% off if you use the code YEAH21, that's YEAH21. Simply use the code YEAH21 at checkout at covercraft.com. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. American Collectors Insurance, that's how I now protect my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush. Are you insuring your classic vehicles on your regular daily driver auto policy? Then your special vehicles are at risk. Your regular auto insurance carrier won't tell you how much you'll get until after a claim, and more than likely, you'll be in for a rude awakening. With agreed value policy from American Collectors Insurance, you'll be paid your vehicle's full agreed value. No surprises. If you're driving your collector car less than 5,000 miles a year, do what I did. Call American Collectors Insurance and get your very own agreed value policy tailored to your specific vehicle. If you're like me, you're picky about who works on your special ride. A great policy allows you to choose your repair shop of choice, and that means you'll know the job is done right. I shopped around and decided to protect my car with American Collectors Insurance. They've been protecting vehicles since 1976. Give them a call for a quote today at 866-ACI. Yeah, that's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love. I did at American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. All right, Zach, we're back. And as we continue on what I'm going to call this journey of your life, which has been pretty fast-paced, I would love for you to share a success quote or a mantra. Maybe this is something personal to you, or maybe something that is floating around the airwaves there at McLaren to set forth a successful season for you guys. So I know you love to drive, Zach. Grab the wheel.
Well, there's probably a few things that I bang on about, if you'd like, inside McLaren. You've heard the phrase, work smart, not hard.
Yep.
I think you got to work smart and you got to work hard.
Yes.
You got to wake up and try and beat the competition. And so working hard, mistakes are okay. Don't make the same mistake twice, and don't make stupid mistakes. So, you know, you're racing and you're making a pass for the lead and it doesn't stick and you crash. That's okay. Coming out, pit lane, cold tires, free practice one, you crash. That's just stupid. So mistakes are okay, but there's certain type of ones, but you got to learn from them. And then two of my other little pet peeves are, I can't stand ASAP. You know, you got to be clear in your communication. And I have in my calendar Monday at 3, I have Wednesday at 2, I have Friday at 10. I have no ASAP in my calendar. And date documents. You know, I live by briefs and live on planes. And so I'll get so many drafts and you print them off and you get on a plane. You got 3 documents that look identical and you can't figure out which one's the most current because it's not dated. So those are a few of my little things that I live by. I'm not sure any of them are earth shattering.
Well, I can't imagine the busy life of a gentleman running a Formula One team these days. And we're going to dive into what you're looking forward to this year. You know, when you think about, or I think about McLaren after their first taste of Formula One victory, which I believe was at the 1968 Belgian Grand Prix, you guys have gone on to secure 181 Grand Prix wins, 20 World Championships. This year is an exciting year. McLaren racing drivers include Lando Norris and the ever-smiling Daniel Ricciardo. I got to ask you, does a smile ever leave that guy's face? He is always smiling.
No, and he's we've got such a great driver lineup with Daniel and Lando, two guys that are awesome race car drivers and good guys, and kind of what you see on TV, that's who they are. You know, they're killers when they put the helmet on, but when they take the helmet off, they're a pleasure to deal with and just two really good people. So I'm excited to go racing with both of them next year. This year, I guess I should say at this point.
Oh, well, yeah, we're already in. I know it seems a little weird, doesn't it? Well, let's talk a little bit about this year and what you're expecting. Well, I know what you're expecting to win, but what your plans are. After last year and all the bizarro world, and it seems like we're still in a bit of bizarro world with this pandemic, which is affecting so many things. Let's talk about what you're looking forward to this year there at McLaren, some of the things that you can share with us that have you super excited about this year in Formula One racing.
Our driver lineup, as we just discussed, is very exciting. And then, of course, we've got the Mercedes power unit that's going to be in the back of our car.
Yeah.
And last time we won a race was with Mercedes in 2012, a long, long time ago. So I think those are two very exciting developments. I think, we still have a long way to go to get to our ultimate destination, which is winning world championships again. So I think the season 2021 will look a lot like 2020 for the entire grid. A lot of that is because we're carrying over the majority of the car from 20. So I think 21 will look like 20. But that midfield battle that we're in, there was nothing between third and sixth. So I think there could be some mixing up of the order there. We finished third, so I hope we're not mixed up going the wrong direction. And then 22 is going to be the largest rule change in modern day Formula One. So I think we have a lot to look forward to for the next 5 years.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this because cars have evolved quite dramatically in the last couple of years with the presence of the halo, protective devices for drivers. Putting a Mercedes engine in the back of your car is, I think, a great move for you guys and very exciting. What are some of the things that us fans are going to see that are going to be different about the cars this year?
Well, the cars aren't going to be a lot different this year. I mean, I think so much of the Formula One game, if you'd like, is aerodynamics, which are pretty subtle to the naked eye. So I think where you'll visibly see a major difference is in 2022 when the cars are all brand new concepts. But I think 21 will look a lot like 20. I think the field will be tighter, though, as the rules go not heavily modified. It seems to consolidate the field. So I think what we will see this year is even better racing.
It'll be fun. When we look back at your career, you raced cars for many years, and then you went into marketing business, and now you're running a F1 team. When you were running your marketing business, did you ever think you'd be running a Formula One team one day, or was that part of your plan?
No, it was never part of my plan. Never thought I would, and actually wasn't sure that I was interested in that. Because had been for 20 plus years doing the sponsorship side of the business, kind of the commercial side of the business. I had an excellent opportunity to go to Formula One during the transition of when Liberty acquired the sport from Bernie and CVC. And that's where I was headed. And it was only when this opportunity came along that I kind of hit the pause button. And as difficult as it's been since I've started and we're now having fun again, I haven't looked back and regretted my decision at all. And but I didn't think I was going to end up on the team side. I thought I was going to end up on the Formula One management side. And it worked out this way, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Do you think this all worked out because of that marketing business background? Because racing these days, and I've interviewed hundreds of race car drivers from all different types of racing, and one thing that racing always comes back to: business, marketing. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I've got to think that history you had, the company that you built up, there's so many of those points of knowledge that you've brought into McLaren that have been a great benefit for you and the team.
Yeah, for sure. They didn't bring me in for my technical and engineering skills. Fortunately, we've got great men and women at McLaren that know what they're doing. But yeah, they brought me in to run the business of the Formula One team, and we've got an IndyCar team and esports and a great heritage business. And so it was the commercial side. They had been struggling with partners. I had done a lot of in my previous role, a lot of their partnerships. So, they brought me in as a commercial leader as opposed to a technical. But you got to hire the right people, put the right people in the right place. And, you got to know your strengths and weaknesses, and certainly know that developing a race car to go faster, my contribution to that is putting the right people in the place and giving them the right resources and goals and objectives, but then having the right people that know how to design a great race car and run a great race team. And I'm very happy with everyone we have on the racing team. I think they're doing an excellent job.
Well, you mentioned the word heritage. When I think of McLaren, oh my gosh, heritage going back to the beginning and all the racing, and having been a vintage racer and being around and looking at these cars and thinking back to the day. I mean, Zack, what's it like when you walk into that facility every day and you go, wow, I'm here. This is McLaren.
I do that every day. The boulevard, as we call it.
Yeah.
Our extended lobby, if you'd like.
Yeah, quite a lobby that it is.
It's got all the history there, from Bruce McLaren's Formula One car, actually his first Austin, to our 74 Johnny Rutherford Indy 500 winner, to our Denny Holm 70 Can-Am car, to our first championship with Emerson Fittipaldi, all the way through Niki Lauda and Alain Prost and Senna, to your Hakkinen era, to then your Lewis and Alonso and Button. And I'm such a fan of Formula One and motor racing and McLaren in particular, that it's such a privilege and never gets old being at the MTC.
I can't even imagine. Listeners, I mentioned to Zack in our pre-show chat that the wall in my son's room is painted McLaren orange, because when he was in junior high, he wanted to redo his room, and that was the color that he chose, and it still remains that color today. I won't change it. It's too cool. Can you talk a little bit about your racing days? Because you raced for a long time. Tell my listeners a little bit about what kind of racing you did, the cars, and what was so enjoyable about that for you before you started your marketing business.
Well, I started, wanted to be preferred to be on the podium in a driver's suit for McLaren, but I've got the second best uniform, the CEO uniform. But I wanted to race, and I grew up in Southern California. I raced karts. My family didn't have anything to do with the motor racing business, and wasn't a family with the type of wealth that you need to really progress through motor racing. I had been lucky enough to get on the Wheel of Fortune during Teen Week when I was 13 years old, and won a bunch of his and her watches, which I went and then sold at a pawn shop to buy my first go-kart. So that's how I got started in racing, and I had a lot of success in karting, and kind of had more interest in going to the kart shop to work on my kart and work at the kart shop than maybe spend on science and history and math. And so just totally got immersed in it. And my mom is a travel agent, so she introduced me to TWA Airlines, who I got a little bit of sponsorship out of. And that put me over in Europe to race. And I kind of got to learn the sponsorship industry by not having family money to be able to put into racing. So I needed to understand, how did corporations, what did you have to do to get them to sponsor you so you could chase your dream? And so it was I didn't have any marketing or commercial training. It was more getting totally immersed into, what do I need to do for TWA's business for them to help me. And then you just got immersed in the business and understood what they were looking for marketing. And that's how the business got started. And then when I moved back from Europe, TWA wanted to continue sponsoring. And they said, well, you must know the people in pit lane. Can't you place our sponsorship with one of your buddies? And yeah, I could do that. And that's how the business got started. Is I started going back to all my contacts saying, well, forget about me for a moment, because it looks like I'm not headed to Formula One and not as famous as some of these other guys out there. What if I could take you anywhere in the sport? And I had the credibility for being a racer where people went, yeah, Zack, if you can help us navigate. And then that's how the business took off.
Wow. Fascinating. Very, very cool twist of things. I always ask my guests about a big challenge or even a big failure. Now, you work in a career that is, fraught with ups and downs. It's just mind-boggling. Being in the racing business, I'd love for you to share a big, big challenge in your life. Could be your business, could be in racing, could be anything. But more importantly, what was that lesson learned so you could move forward in a positive way?
I would have to say the biggest, first of all, you have lots of failures. And you have failures every day, just degree of how big and were they self-inflicted and did you learn from them and were they your fault or not your fault? But I think the biggest one, and certainly the most visible, was failing to qualify at the Indianapolis 500 with Fernando Alonso in 2019 to bring the McLaren brand to Indianapolis, to bring a two-time world champion to Indianapolis and then fail to qualify. That was definitely the worst racing experience of my life. I can't even think of what was second if you kind of put that on a scale, because it's Fernando Alonso, it's McLaren, and there's no hiding from it. And what I learned, trust your instincts. I had lots of red flags along the way, but I was rebuilding the Formula One team, and I think there were plenty of things I saw along the way that concerned me, and unfortunately, I was kind of given assurances and comfort that I was a bit wound up over nothing. Turns out that I probably should have stepped in when my instinct said, I don't like what I'm seeing here, because the failure to qualify at Indy in May, I can trace back step by step to March. So I knew there was a problem
back in March.
In March. And ultimately what bit us in May, I could literally rewind and go, well, this happened, it's caused this to happen, it's caused this to happen. So trust your instinct, don't underestimate. And some people thought we underestimated it. I knew how difficult it was going to be, but I think I didn't put enough of my time into it because all the mistakes we made, which were a series of small mistakes. But, motor racing is unbelievably competitive. And, while I got great notes from Roger Penske saying, Zack, I didn't qualify at Indy one year. So it's happened to the best of them, including the best, Roger Penske. There's no one better in motor racing. He's my hero. Still, when he didn't qualify, his car wasn't good enough. Our car and our driver was good enough. We didn't execute. So I think that was probably the biggest failure, and lots of learnings from it. And what you don't do is quit. We came back and did things a little bit differently, and we finished fourth in the championship last year with I think 5 podiums. So it would have been easy to pack up and go home, but that's like crashing and quitting. You crash, you got to dust yourself off, rebuild the car, and get ready for the next session.
Well, the words I've heard from every racer on this show are never, ever, ever quit. And that's definitely something you can't do. So the golden nugget I heard out of that description was listen to your instincts, your gut. It's almost always right. And I know for myself, every time I've ignored that and pushed it aside, it's come back to bite me. Yeah, definitely. Every time.
Definitely regret it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the successes after that difficult time. Awesome. Thanks for taking us down that road. Let's take a short break and thank our sponsors here. And when we come back, I want to dive into your personal passion for cars here, Zack. So sit tight, keep the seatbelts on. We're at McLaren. This is a very cool place. Be right back. GS Events was founded by Cindy Sisson and Teresa Gilpatrick. Together, they create strategic alliances, curated events, and business development connecting automotive brands to discerning audiences. Their flagship offering, Women Shifting Gears, amplifies women's voices and participation in the automotive culture. Through strategically developed events, they create innovative concepts and collaborations that create remarkable professional and personal experiences you won't find anywhere else. GS Events' immersive, inclusive opportunities create networking, skill building, and unforgettable experiences. Whether you enjoy rallies, concours, auctions, restoration, the business side of collected cars, or you always have yearned to expand your skills to drive vehicles to its fullest potential, GS Events has automotive events and experiences designed just for you. And by the way, both Cindy and Teresa are past guests here on Cars Yeah! so give them a listen. You can find gsevents.live on their website today. Did you know that Cars Yeah is in the top 1% of all podcasts based on listenership, according to Libsyn, the premier RSS feed for podcasts in the United States? That's right. And Cars Yeah is the only 5-day-a-week automotive-focused podcast for you to get your message into the ears of thousands of listeners daily from all over the world. Plus, DuPont Registry recommended Cars Yeah as one of their top 10 car podcasts for you to enjoy. Cars Yeah has experienced tremendous growth, plus your ads are evergreen, meaning they never go away. And more listeners find Cars Yeah every day for their daily dose of automotive inspiration. Do you want to expose your brand to a highly targeted list of automotive enthusiasts in a very unique and very personal way? Well, I can help you. Contact me, Mark Green, at mark@carsyeah.com or through the website at carsyeah.com today to learn more. All right, Zach, tell me a pivotal moment in your life when you knew that you were going to be a bit of a car guy instead of a baseball guy.
First race I went to was the 1981 Long Beach Grand Prix. I loved it. I was always a car guy. I just never really saw it as a profession I might get into. I was always very focused on baseball all the way up till high school. But in high school, one of my best friends' father was in the racing business. And my family took me to the 81 Long Beach Grand Prix. And then we probably did 5 races over the next 5 years at Riverside, the NASCAR race, the sports car race. We would go to the Pomona drag races, but it was kind of the races in town as opposed to us being really into racing. But I loved cars. I played with Hot Wheels, and so I always enjoyed cars, but never really thought I would get into it. Also because I was totally focused on baseball. But in high school, when I started to lose interest in baseball, and then you're getting close to getting your driver's license, so the automobiles becoming a big part of the next phase of your life. And he took me to the 87 Long Beach Grand Prix, and we had dinner with Mario Andretti one night. Just family was friends with him, and I asked Mario, I was very intimidated. It was the only thing I asked him all night. It was a big dinner. How do you get started in racing? He said karting. And there was a advertisement in the race program, which I still have, for Jim Hall Karting School. And I thought, well, I want to try this. So I went to the karting school, did really well. Then did the advanced class, did very well. So I want to get a kart. Went and sold my Wheel of Fortune winnings, if you'd like.
Yeah.
And that's what got me into karting. And then, I've always been either completely into something or no interest. And karting became my new love, and so I just totally immersed myself in it. And now what's cool, and I think the best part of my job, is now I call Mario Andretti a good, close, personal friend. And I actually was able to acquire, as part of my car collection, his 1987 Long Beach winner. So
no way.
Pretty cool. So my car collection is all very it's memory lane for me, and so that's I have lots of favorite cars, but to now know Mario, and I had the car rebuilt, and Mario joined me in Chicago a couple of years ago and shook the car down for me, and that was just awesome. It felt like a 15-year-old again.
Yeah, I think so. Well, 81 Long Beach Grand Prix. I was there too, by the way. And Alan Jones won that year. Williams Ford were top 2, I believe. Carlos Reutemann.
Yep.
Nelson Piquet was number 3. And Mario Andretti was number 4, driving an Alfa Romeo back in the day. So, yeah, I was very lucky. I got to hang out in the pits. A friend of mine, actually a girl I was dating, her dad was doing some kind of marketing then. And I got to kind of hang behind the scenes. I thought I died and gone to heaven. I mean, yeah, that was pretty darn cool. Well, is there a special, you mentioned that Mario Andretti race car. Sounds like you have some cool race cars. Tell me about one really special car in your life. This could have been your first driver, or this could be something else. And maybe share a memory you have about that ride.
God, that is
hard to narrow it down to one.
That's hard to narrow it down. If I had to pick one, it would be my 1991 Monaco winning championship year, Ayrton Senna.
Oh.
And to me, it ticks every box. Senna was my favorite driver. Monaco, of course, if you're a Formula One guy, Monaco's the race championship. And of course, McLaren has always been my team. So that one has to be my favorite if I had to pick one, but I certainly hope I can take more than one when I go.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is special. Senna's got a special place in my heart. My listeners know this. I have one of his quotes on my business card, actually. And that is, the past is just data. I only see the future.
Yep.
So many great things about Ayrton Senna, but that car, oh my gosh. Yeah. Marlboro livery? Is that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got the car right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I got to come visit you, my friend, and sit in a couple of those cars. That is pretty cool. Well, here's a bit of an introspective question for you, Zach. I'm going to crawl into your head a little bit here. If you woke up tomorrow and you were manifest as a car, this isn't what you want to be. This is how your perception of your personality, your traits, who you are, were wrapped into a vehicle. What would Zack Brown be? But more importantly, why?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that would have to be a Cobra.
A Cobra. Okay. So
I think a Cobra.
Yeah, 289, 427?
289.
Oh, I like the 289. Yeah.
Little bit more refined than the 427. American.
Yep.
Fast. A little bit loud.
Yep.
And just a cool car. I've always loved Cobras.
Oh gosh. Yeah, they are special for sure. All right, Zach, we're entering the last lap. This is a place you've been so many times in your life. That means the white flag's out, checker flag's in the distance. Time to really put our foot into it and finish strong. I'm going to ask you some very quick questions, get some quick blips of that Cobra 289 throttle answer from you. So here we go. What's one of your personal habits that you believe has contributed to your many successes in life?
Workaholic.
So I hear.
Workaholic.
Yeah. If I could arrange for you to sit down and have a drink or a meal with anyone in the automotive industry or racing, living or someone who's passed, who would that individual be? Because you've probably met some incredible people.
I've been fortunate to meet some very exciting people. I would have to say Ayrton Senna because I never met him.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that be special? Very cool.
Never met him.
Now, when it comes to automotive advice, or I'll add the word racing advice, what's the best advice someone else ever offered to you?
You can't quit. It's a sport, and it's a sport that unfortunately has you probably lose more than you win, and you gotta keep going. So it's not a sport that I think any sport, it's not easy to get there, and then once you get there, people are trying to knock you down. So you got to get up and stay on the throttle every day.
There you go. I love it. Get up and stay on the throttle every day. Very nice. Now, when it comes to resources, there's so many for us these days. Websites, apps, suppliers, people. Doesn't matter what it is. What's a consistent go-to for you?
Well, definitely my email, but probably Twitter tends to be where you get all the breaking news these days, whether it's in motor racing or politics or the markets or world news. So that's probably what I'm checking most often to stay current.
I assume McLaren's very active on Twitter with what you guys are putting out there for your fans?
Extremely.
Yeah. There you go. I'll make sure I put a link to that if you guys aren't already following that. Now, Zach, is there a book perhaps you read in the past year that you think our listeners could garner a lot of knowledge from?
I'm kind of a motor racing junkie, so I just finished reading Niki Lauda's book, and I just got my Porsche Singer book, but that's more flipping through pages and looking at cool cars.
Well, I'll tell you, funny you mentioned the Singer book. Michael Harley, who wrote that book for Rob Dickinson and Singer, was just a guest on my show the other day. So there you go.
Tell me, did a good book.
Yeah, he did a great book. In fact, I'm sitting here in my studio looking at my coffee table, and there it sits. The Niki Lauda book, do you remember which book that is?
It's the brand new one that just came out, because there's been quite a few.
Yeah, Niki Lauda's book, it's titled Niki Lauda, His Competition Histories by a very recent Cars Yeah guest here, John Saltonstall. I've got a copy too. He did a marvelous job covering Niki's history. That's another hero of mine too, Niki Lauda. Sadly, we lost him, of course, last year. But wow, yeah, what a great book. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Nicely done. You can find all these resources on Zach's very own show notes page on the Cars Yeah website. All right, Zach, we're almost to the finish line here. Check your flags out. I'm going to buy you a very cool collector car today, but this question could be very challenging, and here's why. Since I'm buying it, I'm the sponsor, so I get a little bit of leeway here. It needs to be a car that's a keeper, meaning you can't just sell it and fund a bunch of stuff or buy more cars with it. I want you to enjoy it and drive it, whether it's on the road or the track. But here's the hard part. It's the only collector car you can have. That means all the other cars you have to go away. You can only have one parked in the garage. Now, if you want to keep a car you have, that's cool. I won't have to buy anything. But if you want me to buy you something very special, unobtainium, what's it going to be?
I know that's an easy one for me.
Okay.
It's the McLaren F1.
The McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 road car, right?
Yeah. I don't have one. It's a little bit out of my league. They're worth a small fortune.
Yeah.
But it's that and the Ferrari GTO that seem to be the two big cars. So I'm fortunate to have a great collection, but not one of those in them. So if you're going to be kind enough to buy me something, please go get me one of those.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Now, it's interesting to me that that's really become the modern day GTO, in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's just really come on strong and such a special car. I got to go to the factory back when they were building those because I was importing Facom tools into the country, and Facom was supplying tools to them at the time. In fact, they even had a little compartment where they had to put a set of Facom tools in there. And I looking at that car when it was first coming out, I was just blown away, not only by the car, but the facility that I got to go to was pretty darn cool. So I have to ask you this, though. Being a racer, there's a couple versions of that car, right? There's a road-going version, and then there's another one that's a little bit more special. I think our friend Ralph Lauren has one of those. Which one would you like?
Yep. I would go for the traditional road car. I mean, there's the LM, which is the one that you're referring to, which I think we did 4 or 5 of. But I like pure road cars. The LM's pretty race ready, and I'd go for the regular one. So I'd save you a few bucks.
Well, I appreciate that, pal. Thank you. Yeah. Actually, now, so that I get you the right car, do you want that in the traditional silver, or would you like that in McLaren orange?
I can't recall how many McLaren oranges we did. I love our green one.
That's nice.
But you know what? I mean, it's just, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to tell you what color gift to get me.
Okay.
Be appreciative for whatever color you decide.
All right. I'll get to work on that for you right away. Zach, you've taken me on an awesome ride. I knew this would be fun, and I want to thank you for sharing a little time with us today. And everyone here wishes McLaren the best for this year. You keep saying next year, but it's this year. For this year, what you guys are going to do there, your drivers, your new car, new power plant, I should say. Awesome year, I think, is going to be for you guys today. I have all the faith in you. Before I let you drive off into the English countryside in that McLaren F1, could you offer us one little parting piece of wisdom or guidance?
Ooh, boy, that's a lot of
pressure. Yeah,
I think,
in the new year.
I think given that we're still living in this COVID era at this moment, everyone needs to be very safe, and as most people are, but not enough, take it extremely seriously, and we'll get through this together. But let's not take our foot off the throttle. Absolutely.
What's the best way for people to follow you guys there at McLaren Racing this year?
I think our social media channels. It's something that we spend a lot of time on, making sure we are keeping everyone informed. So whether it's Twitter or Instagram, I think those two channels we're on quite often, and we try and keep our fans and supporters and partners very up to speed.
All right. I'll put links to all those. You guys follow McLaren this year. I think things are going to be great for you and your team. You got great drivers, obviously a great leader there, Zach. You can find everything on Zack Brown's show notes page on the Cars Show website. And I want to do a quick thank you to Tom Gibson at Gibson Communication for introducing me to Zach. Tom brings a lot of great, inspiring automotive enthusiasts here to Cars Yeah. So thanks, Tom. Hey, Zach, thanks for being so generous today with your time, your expertise. Can't wait to follow you guys this year. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you down the road or at the track.
Sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Cars Yeah is proud to support our veterans, which is why I've teamed up with our nonprofit partner, TechForce Foundation, through its Veterans at Work Military Transition Campaign. The tech shortage is very real, and our country needs skilled, qualified techs to keep our cars, trucks, airplanes, and fleets rolling. When so many vets build their skills in maintaining and servicing vehicles when deployed, TechForce helps transition those skills to jobs as professional technicians when they come home. Learn more about TechForce Foundation and its Veterans at Work Military Transition Fund at techforce.org today.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.